Thanks so much, everyone. But yeah, so just wanted just kind of super quick. Hey, I did shoot it out for the kind of the monthly just kind of check-ins, and some folks have already signed up, and thank you guys so much. And I know Laura is doing check-ins also. So basically, I just wanted to see if there was just something quick that I was trying to get a hold of you guys, or had a question, or just wanted to check in outside of the video chat. I just wanted to see how you guys prefer to be contacted, whether it's like just pinging you on Slack or a text. So if you guys don't mind just kind of sending me a little message on here, I don't want to make everyone kind of go through, or actually, yeah, if you don't mind just kind of messaging me, whether it's like, if it's a text, if you don't mind just sending me your phone number, or if you just want me to message you on Slack, then just write Slack in the comment. Or if email, you could say email, and that is, if you don't mind writing your email and a little text notification to me. Okay, perfect. All right, I got some Slack on there. But yeah, that's it. Again, I'm here to really be a support to you guys, whether it's supporting you in learning the material. If there's any, kind of concerns out of class, I'm super excited to be working with you. So I'll go through the chat and jot that stuff down, but I'm really, just really looking forward to continue to work with you guys. And all right, thanks.
You can go ahead, Dana. Jason's done with his little message that he wanted to get out.
Okay, one moment. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So welcome back. We're on week 2, module 2 of Careers in Code. This week we have Miss Karin Thorne as your instructor, and I am your TA for today. However, you will have another TA for the rest of the week starting tomorrow. Her name is Caitlin Warboy. And so I will, after class, continue to make sure that I upload your class videos to YouTube, and you can expect those videos to be up. Usually I can get them up the same night. Sometimes it takes me to the morning. So no later than 9 a.m. the next morning if you're ever looking for those videos to review. So, and everyone is aware that the link changed. So, and you got that in your, in Slack, and also as an invite to the class. And for anyone who was not able to take advantage of the Common Space membership but still wants to, I do want to let you know that Common Space has agreed to extend another tour this coming Friday. So I'll be here on site. If anyone wants to come on Friday, just give me the heads up that you're coming so that I can look for you. For anyone who wants to see it virtually, I can do that also. Just let me know, and that'll be this Friday, the 26th at 5 p.m. If Fridays do not suit you at all and you want to take advantage of the membership, please let me know. I will try to arrange a different day and time for you, so that way we can make sure that everyone who wants one can get one. And Karin, that's it for my announcements.
Okay, are you guys ready for week 2? I hope so. Okay, so we're gonna start out as usual with some stand-up. Right? So do you guys have questions about what you went over with Max last week? Anything you want to discuss? Anything you want to go over? All right, we're pretty good with that. Okay. Does anybody have anything they want to share? Boy, you guys are quiet tonight. It's like,
I would like to share that I think that all the students did great last week. I'm really impressed with the level of engagement and knowledge and the questions. This is a really great group, and I just want everyone to continue with that same energy this week. I think everyone's doing great.
I would agree with that. So before I dive into what we're going to be doing this week and tonight, I kind of want to go over a couple of things that we touched a little bit about in office hours. I made a comment that this takes a lot of effort to do and to get through this program. You spend a lot of hours. I found myself in a spot where I was working a full-time job and I was going to the program for class, and then I would be up until 1, sometimes 2 o'clock in the morning, and then getting up and going to work. You need to find a good balance, because that's not good. It took me a little while to realize that that wasn't a good thing. Definitely get up, walk away if you're frustrated. If you're trying to do something and you really want to get it done and you're just adamant about trying to get it done, get up and walk away. Go watch a program for half an hour, go take a walk, do something, get up and walk away a lot. You're going to need to do that. The other thing that I want to put out there is don't compare yourself to each other. When you start getting into writing code and showing what you've done and what you've accomplished, it's very easy to think, oh my God, I'm nowhere near where that person is, and I should really be doing more, or I'm never gonna get to that point. Don't compare yourself to each other. That I learned that pretty quickly. I was comparing myself to a few other students. I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? I'm never, like, I don't even belong here. It took probably 3 or 4 weeks. And finally I was like, stop comparing yourself to each other. You're here for you and what you need to do. So just be mindful of that. You have anything you want to add, Dana or Caitlin?
I think you said it all. It's about finding balance.
Yeah.
And of course, because at the beginning of the program, you want to do a good job. You're ambitious. And so you will find yourself pushing. I mean, that's natural. But when you feel like you need to stop and take a break, give yourself permission to do that, because it's totally okay. You don't want to push yourself to the point where you're driving yourself crazy. You can't get to the point where it feels like it's like a constant midterm. I always, when I was in college during the last 3 weeks, I would always have a terrible, terrible case of the nerves, and you don't want it to feel like that every week. I would like to say that if the feeling gets to be unbearable, once again, you can reach out. You have staff, you have the instructors. Jason is part of staff. You have Susan. If you have anxieties, we all have our specialties. And if there's something that we feel like we're not able to talk about or contribute, there are other people, like I may say, well, you know what, that sounds like something that's a better fit for Jason, or, and I've done it already. I'll say, well, that sounds like a question for the professor or the instructor. So you need to go ask him or her. So.
And lean on each other. Form little study groups. We formed study groups. We would meet on the weekends. We'd go to Common Space, and even if it was just, like, hey, there's 5 of us, we're all going to be there. Some of us will be there for an hour, some will be for half an hour, whatever. Sometimes just that a little bit of time that you're together, you'll know something that, you'll have something and you'll explain it to somebody else a different way, and it'll click for them, and they'll be like, oh, I get it now. I recommend that, if you can get together with, 3 or 4 of you, whatever, however many of you, or if an instructor is willing to meet with you, do it. The study sessions, they helped me, and I'm guessing they helped others because they would always show up.
And Max said it in the first module. He said, know what kind of questions to ask. I think that's key. Because with the right questions, you can get to the solution, and you'll find that you're working smarter as you're working hard. And the goal that we have for each of you during the week, which is to finish your assignments within a 15 to 30 minute time frame during the week each night. you should find yourself meeting those goals in addition to the projects that you may get over the weekend, devoting about an hour to that. I think with the right questions going into your homework and your projects, you will find yourself meeting those goals. If you're not meeting those goals, then you definitely want to have a conversation with your instructor or maybe another student who can help you to organize your work and your thought process so that you are meeting those. And that was my last takeaway.
So this evening, we are going to talk about wireframing. Did everybody have a chance to read the short article that I had put out there with and the video that was in it? The video was only a few minutes. Okay, so what kind of questions do you guys have before I start diving in and going over everything about wireframes?
Are there any completely free tools for wireframing?
Yeah,
Okay, go ahead.
there are actually a bunch. And the one that we're going to use, which was the one that was in the article, Envision, you can sign up for free. We're gonna do that tonight. Because you guys are you're gonna start doing a wireframe tonight.
Will the one that they give you be enough? Because they say you get one, I forget, did they call it wireframing, but you get to do one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure with that one, you can, like, even if we do one tonight, you can delete that. And then you can go in and start a new one. It doesn't, I mean, we're going to use that tonight just because that's what we had set up. But there are others. I don't know if that article had other resources for them in there. I do have a couple others that I'll put in the Slack channel of couple of articles that name other wireframing, but it doesn't have to be on the internet either. You can use your whiteboard, you can use pen and paper, and that's how I started out. I started with paper and then I went to the whiteboard. When I went to the whiteboard, that was huge. And then I just started looking online, when we got to sort of the high fidelity wireframe. I think, Caitlin, you're doing the high fidelity wireframe, right?
Yeah, yep. I'm doing, we're gonna like make it look really pretty after that.
Right. Yeah. What we're going to be doing this week, we're just going to lay it out. We're just going to see, this is what we need to have. Then when you guys get with Caitlin, you'll make it all pretty and give it colors and do all that fun stuff with it. Change the font or do whatever. Whatever she has planned. Okay, so do you guys have questions about the article? Do you understand what it was trying to convey? Really? Okay, all right. So I'm going to give you this. Hopefully you guys can open it. Oh, I'm in the wrong thing. I just put a link in the chat and I'll throw it in Slack here too, in the student channel. This is the link to, this is the link to the slides that I'm going to go over. And it's just going to be a lot of what you read already. Let me know if you can't open that. And then I am going to share my screen, or maybe not.
Okay, I was able to get in.
Okay, I'm trying to get this. I'm trying to share my screen and apparently it doesn't want to be nice. But maybe it'll let me do this without, oh no, forget it. Apparently I had to beforehand allow Zoom to share my screen, so it won't let me share my screen. I'd have to leave and come back in. yeah, Figma's one. That's a good one, Dana. Does everybody have this, the slides open? Okay, so who can tell me why we use the wireframe? What do we use it for?
Let me see if we have any responses in the chat. Susan wrote in the chat to outline. Shah said to create a blueprint, and Mel said to design a layout.
Yeah, and a good place to start, just to keep it basic, you know, make yourself stay at that step and not go thinking about everything else yet.
That's right. Yep. So those are all the right answers. They're all correct. You want to use a wireframe in the beginning, and there's no color. It's just basic boxes of how you want it to be laid out, how you want it to look. So, and there's a low fidelity, which is what we're going to do, which has no color. It's just the layout of, hey, I need this to have this navigation bar, or I need to have a title up at the top of the page. And then I need to have a spot for what the product is that I'm looking at. And since we're doing e-commerce with the cart, you need the price of the product. You need to be able to add it to the cart so that they can purchase it. And then a lot of times you have a footer, which is where you have your email, contact information. If you want to sign up for how many of them want to send you a newsletter or whatever, you could sign up for that, usually down in the footer. So it's going to present all of your information that's going to be presented on the page of your website or your mobile app, right? And it gives you just the outline of the structure of how everything is going to look. Sorry, my dog's barking if you guys can hear it. Sorry about that. She's super protective lately. And then it kind of helps you also walk you through the steps of what the user is going to see and how they're going to interact with each piece. Where do you want to have the button? Is it in a good spot where they're going to be able to see it? Is the search part in a good spot where they're easily accessible? Any of the links, for about us or other products. So it helps you go through the user, how they would walk through it. So, and we talked about the different, how you can do a wireframe, right? You can use pen and paper, you can use a whiteboard, you can use, there's a lot of apps out there that you can use. There's InVision, there's Sketch, there's Affinity Design, Figma, like Dana put up there. And what did I use? I used one, it was called Mock Plus. And that was, I want to say that was one that was free for, I don't know, it was 30-day trial period or something to that effect. But I emailed them and actually told them that I was a student in a boot camp. And they allowed me to have the free version until the end of the program. And I was able to get them that if any of my other fellow students just gave their email address, they could get it as well. So sometimes you can do things like that, even if you reach out to the company and say, hey, I'm in this boot camp right now and we want to try this product out and use it for the 6 months that we're in. Do you have any type of, what am I thinking of? I'm lacking words. Discount for students. So sometimes they'll say, oh, sure, we'll give you extend your free period or something like that. So it's worth checking into if you look into one of those applications that are online. So with the wireframe, the low fidelity, they don't have any color, right? You're not putting pretty colors in there. You're not saying, oh, I want it to be this font or, any of that stuff. It's just basic. Here's these boxes, lay it out. This is what it looks like. and you know, you can, when you lay them out, you can say, okay, you know what, this is my title, so I kind of want this to be big font. You can put things like that in there. I want big font here, I want little font there, however you want it to go down through. Where you're going to have images, because we don't put images in the low fidelity, put an X. How many times have you gone to a website or something and there's a little photo and it's broken? That's where an image would be. When you're doing your wireframe, you're just going to put an X in the spot where you would want a photo to be. So,
Karen,
yep.
I'm gonna log out and log in under the Hack Upstate account and see what I can do about enable your sharing. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay.
It's probably on my end though. I think it's in my system preferences.
Okay.
So
Are you
that
are you logged in as host for Hack Upstate?
No, on my computer, like I have to go in and allow Zoom to be able to access the screen. I just got a newer laptop over the weekend, so
Okay.
I have to go into my system preferences. And when I do it and click it, it wants me to log out and log back in. So I'll fix it after tonight, so I won't have that problem
Okay.
tomorrow.
Or maybe during the break, you have the Zoom credentials for Hack Upstate. Okay. All right. We'll just keep moving along then.
Yeah.
Okay.
So with the low fidelity wireframe mockups, with the wireframes and the low fidelity, it allows you to see how your user is going to navigate your website, right? So it makes sense to figure out what the best flow for them is. So if you guys are following along with the slides, there's one and it's a picture of a whiteboard. You guys all see that? That was one of mine. That was one that I did. I didn't have all the boxes, but what I did was I went through and I said, okay, here I'm on this screen and I have, you know, these 3 boxes. And if they click on this box, this is what it's going to do. It's going to, you know, I walked through how it was, the user was going to go through everything and where it was going, each step was going to take them. This will also help you. If you do something similar to this, it can be on paper, can be on the whiteboard, however you want to do it, however you like to do notes.
Karin, are you on the Your Cart page with the green background?
Nope. If you go down 2 more, you'll see a big whiteboard.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. There's a big so that big whiteboard, that's pretty much all I did was I said, okay, they're going to click on this and it's going to take them to this spot. And then they're going to click on this and it's going to take them to this spot. And then when you click, okay, so this button is actually going to do this and it's going to go and do this. That will also help you when you're doing your wireframing for you to say, okay, I have this wireframe. The user's going to come. This is the first thing they're going to see. They're going to see this navigation bar or this header, right? In my header, I'm going to want, you know, your 3 buttons of like search, about us, and more products, right? And then you can kind of go from there and be like, all right, so below that, if I'm on a page of one item, this is what I want them to see. And I want them to be able to, click on whatever they need to. If they want to add more than one, if they want to add it to their cart, if they want the product details. So that helps you go through all of that. And even doing like I did on the whiteboard, just the process of, okay, if they push on this button, if they click on this link, this is where it's going to send them. It'll help you lay out that wireframe. Carolyn, did you get the slides? You got them? Okay.
Yeah, I just sent her the link.
Thank you.
Yeah, so if anyone has any issues, I'll work them out on this side for you, no problem.
Can everybody get to the slide that says the grid system? Because this one is going to be important. This one is going to be how you lay everything out. This is going to come into play a lot. It's going to come into play with your CSS, and you're definitely going to be using it when you get in with Caitlin in 2 weeks and you guys start adding colors and all that fun stuff, and making things more responsive. This grid system is like, you use it in everything. So I don't recall, because I didn't go over it again. I looked at it, I watched it last night. I looked at the article last night. And I've got like 2 others that have the grid system in it. So the grid system is 12 columns. Doesn't matter what you put on there, it's 12 columns long. And I don't know, did I? Okay. I hate that I can't share my screen right now. It's really making me mad.
So I'll go back to Plan A. I'm gonna log out and log back in, and then once I log back in, I should be able to share mine. So I'll be right back. Looks like everyone has the slides up on their own computers though, so.
Okay, I just put
Yeah.
another in the chat and in Slack. I just sent another link, which this is the mock-up that we're going to be doing, because this is the project that we're going to be working on. We're going to work on this one today, but I want you guys to see it because behind it is the 12 columns. And since we're starting with the grid system, I want you guys to be able to see that grid system as well. So I'll give you guys a few minutes to grab that and open it up so you can see it. You guys are quiet. Nobody's asking questions.
How are you today?
I'm good, but I want to know what
Hey,
questions you guys have.
Karen, you were going to post another link, but all I see is the same Adobe link unless it's different and I'm not looking at the whole URL.
It is different. Are you looking in Slack?
Oh,
or are you,
yes, I see it. Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay.
It's long, that thing to watch,
Yeah,
look at all
that's
the,
okay.
but
Take a minute, open it up.
developers need to look at every little detail. So this is important. Thank you.
Karen, is it the link with the grayish white background?
There's 2 I put in Slack. One is of the slides that I have.
Okay.
And you guys can go through those at any time and just keep going through them. The second
Mhm.
one is actually it looks, there you go. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
The second link is what you guys are actually going to be doing as a wireframe tonight, as soon as we get through a few other things.
Am I on the right slide?
Yeah, that's the one that I wanted to be on.
Okay.
That's the first slide of the grid system. And I sent them the second link that I sent them, Dana. I don't know if you had a chance to open that one or not either in the chat, excuse me, or in Slack.
I'll go into Slack.
Which file are you talking about, Latanya?
The wireframe, the one that we're doing tonight. Are we just editing this or are we building our own?
Oh, no. We are going to go into Envision and you guys are all going to create that wireframe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're going to practice them.
Let's see, where did you put the link in resources or?
No,
in
it's right in the student,
the
right
student
there.
channel? Okay.
That one.
Great. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, this wireframe right here, this is what you guys are actually going to do, but I want you to see it because behind it, you see those 12 columns? They're all in pink. That's the grid system. You will use that to lay everything out. So the one row is, So let's see. So if you look at the where it says header, right? See the where it says logo? That's 2 columns. So that's considered 2 columns. Right? Because the grid system is 12. So that would be 2. And then if you went from logo over to home, that's 4. Yep, Dana's got right. That's 4. So home to about, that's another 4. Yep. So you can as long as you can divide it by 12, you're good. You can get into tweaking it and using weird numbers, but we're not going to do any of that. We're strictly dealing with the grid system of 12. So what is that? Where the featured image, that's 6, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, 6. The featured image is going to be 6 wide. Yep. And that's 6. They call them columns because we're in a 12 column grid, right? Using the grid is going to allow you to lay out everything that you do easier. Who's got questions? Because I see a lot of, I'm not sure.
Does that white space on the edges, does that matter? So you know where the header starts, where it's in that white area. Does that matter at all?
So that's, I haven't looked at it, but I would say that that is like padding, and we'll get into that. You have padding and you have a margin, and it's all in a box. That's more, we'll get more into that with the CSS. When we get into CSS later this week, you have everything is they all have a box of padding and margin, and you'll see it in one of the articles that I'm gonna give to you. So the white that you're talking about, that's more than likely that's what that is. That's what those are. They're like padding.
Okay.
Sorry about
I
that.
wanted to,
Margin.
oh, I'm sorry.
No,
I wanted to
you're right.
piggyback. Carolyn had a question earlier in the chat, and it was about something. Didn't they do studies or something? They know that people tend to look at a certain part of the page first. I'm just curious if you know anything about that. I remember hearing that too. I just don't remember too much about it right now.
That I do not know. It's something that I can look into unless Max or Caitlin or Dana have any input on that.
What was the question again?
Top left corner. Caitlin, they always go top left corner. I mean, that's like reading. You start reading top, left to right.
Yep, it's generally top left corner gets the most attention first when you open a web page.
Right.
I would say the most common aspect of what gets seen first is this concept that came out of the newspaper called above the fold. And it was basically anything that was above the fold on a newspaper, the top half of it basically is what users looked at first. And so when you're doing website design, that's something you want to think about is what is the user going to see before they have to scroll down? And that is often the most interactive part of the page.
I haven't heard that in a long time. I forgot about that, Max. I guess maybe it's because how many people actually look at a newspaper anymore? Okay, so in the next, if you go to the next slide, I'm gonna jump back to the slides, Dana, because that will help maybe with especially that part where they have all the thumbnails. Right, it's go to your over one more, 2 more, the Adobe at the top. It says wireframing.
I have the Zoom control blocking me. You can't see it. I'm gonna have to pause the share for a moment, but then I'll hop back in. I just gotta minimize this a little bit. One moment. Oops, actually let me stop share. Okay. All right, I'll bring it right back up for you. One moment, please. So let me go to, all right. And
Who's got questions? I see you guys all looking.
go.
Yes, Brandy, the grid is used for resizing. You can use that to resize how you want things to look. You'll get more into responsive with Caitlin, but the grid system is definitely going to come into play with that. So go to the next slide there, Dana.
Okay, just want to make this a little bigger.
Y12.
Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, great.
They should all be able to see it.
right.
I don't remember Y12. That's a good question. I have to look that up.
12 is an easily divisible number. And so if you want something to take up a third of your screen, with the number 10, you can't easily divide that by 3. But with 12, you can, right? So if you want something to be a third of your screen and the other half to be 2/3 of your screen, what you're going to do is you're going to use a 4 and an 8. But if you base it all off of 10, you're going to get into decimals. And then, of course, decimals aren't easily divisible. So the reason you use 12 is so that you have more flexibility in being able to break up your screen.
Right. And that's what see that image that's on there right now that Dana's sharing right now? That's what he's talking about. You can break it down. So you have 12 all the way across, right? They're all equal to 1. Or if you have the columns where they're equal to 4, or she stopped.
No, there's a glitch in my cord. Hold on.
Oh.
Sorry about that. I have 2 screens and it's being a little temperamental. It is really a manic Monday today. All right, let's see. It should be coming right back up.
See, that's why I wore my, oh, you guys can't see it. See this shirt? This shirt, it's a dog and it says my Monday face. His name is Moose. And he's in a group that I'm in on Facebook because he's an Australian cattle dog. And this dog, he's so funny because he yawns and he talks back to his mom and everything. She's taken a lot of care for him. He actually, the front part of his skull is completely missing and they didn't know it when they first got him. So he's been through a lot of different things, but he's a perfectly normal dog. So.
All right, let me pull this back up for you. I guess I'll be out tonight shopping for another C adapter. All right.
Yes, Bentley, it'll help with CSS layout for sure. When you get to that spot, when we get to that later, you'll see that it's going to help you with all of that, especially when you get in with Caitlin in 2 weeks.
So since my cord is acting up, what that's going to mean on my side is that I'm not going to be able to see who has their hands raised or who is asking questions in the chat. Max, can you take over that part of it while I'm just monitoring the share and moving?
Unfortunately, I can't. I'm actually out walking the dogs right now, so that's why I'm jumping in and out.
Okay. All right. So what I'll ask students to do, because I'm having some technical difficulties on my end, if you have any questions, while we're doing the screen share, you will have to unmute to ask your questions. Okay. All right, then, great. So I'm going to go back into the share and one moment, let me move this other stuff out of the way.
Carolyn, I do not know much about Ruby on Rails. That is definitely not my forte. That's something that I would have to look up or find somebody that does know more about it.
Okay, let's, we were here.
Yeah, right. Yep, that's the one.
All right then.
So when Max was saying it's divisible by 12, see the top row? Those are all of 1, right? If you go to the next row, those are all going to be, they're all a span of 4 because there's only 3 of them. And when he was saying the 1/3, 2/3, this first span of 4 is the 1/3, and then you have the remaining, which is 2/3. You can split it half and half, or you can have it be the column be the entire 12. So you, as long as you, I mean, you can play with any of those numbers. If you don't put any in there, it'll force it automatically. It'll lay it out to the 12. So if you have 2 columns and you don't put the size in there of 6 and 6, it'll automatically do it. If you put only a size of 4 in there, it's going to make that second one, it's automatically going to be 8. So if you, and you'll get more into that and with responsive, right, Caitlin? You guys will get into that.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, we'll probably do a little of it, but that's more on the responsive side of forcing it to just take whatever's left over.
I think Anne has a question. Anne, I had something flash across my screen that Anne had, excuse Carolyn, I'm sorry.
Oh.
It got cut off.
Okay, yep, I
Well, my
see it.
middle name's Ann, and I sometimes go by Carol and Ann, so it works. I didn't think we had an Ann in the class. Yeah, I just, I'm certainly coming to this, not really knowing a lot, but I've had a little exposure here and there and everywhere, sort of like COVID. Back in the early days of the web, when it was just like HTML3 and all that stuff, so it's not marketable at all. I don't remember ever like looking at it quite like this. Like when I took my class with Dave, you know, we did kind of scheme up the class and everything. I'm just wondering when this system maybe was established, because it's brilliant. I mean, it's really great, but I never saw it before. I don't know if it's something I just never saw.
I can chime in there. The grid system started to become popular about 10 years ago.
Okay.
When Bootstrap became popular. So Bootstrap is another framework that we'll be using that Caitlin will be diving into. So the reason why the grid system became popular is developers went, there's got to be an easier way to lay all of this out, right? It's got to be easier to get something in a column and look that way. And so Bootstrap came out and made it super easy for you to do that. But the problem was it wasn't built into CSS itself. And so because it became such a popular way of laying things out, CSS came out with this thing called CSS Grid, which is a way that you can natively lay things out in a grid system without having to bring in any other frameworks. However, due to the popularity of Bootstrap and the ease of use that it brings, we will be using that Bootstrap framework in order to get all of our stuff into a grid. However, the reason why we're covering it now is because knowing how you're going to build it is a super helpful step in the design of it.
Yes.
And so that's why we're covering all of this now. It's trying to figure out, hey, when I put something into my site, how wide do I want it to be? And is that divisible by 12?
Excellent. It's so brilliant. It's just, we use the way we did it, we only did like a page. It wasn't even a site. It was just like, oh, let's see. And we used tables to put things, you know, it was very different back then. But that, thank you. I always love getting the background on things. Thanks, Max.
I remember tables.
Tables were definitely the way to go. That is, the grid system has kind of replaced tables. And the reason why tables went out was this notion of responsiveness. And responsive just means that the website is going to look a little more different on your phone than it is on your desktop computer. And so, unfortunately, tables were not flexible enough to support, hey, I want this layout to change on a smaller size screen. And so that's why the grid system also became popular and kind of replaced tables as the default way of laying out information.
Okay, so the next slide is just, it's an example of high fidelity, and which you'll get more of that in with Caitlin. But if you take a look at that, you can see that now it has some color and it has actual images and it has more detail and it has actual text in there of, you know, what you would be putting in there.
Are you on the next slide? High
Yes.
fidelity wireframes?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Can everyone see it in the share?
Yep.
Okay.
So your high fidelity, that's where all of your color and all of your styling and all of your images and more detail and, you know, your texts, everything is going to come into play. And, you know, all your little icons that you're going to have, the little shopping cart and a little search and everything. But what we're going to do is we're just going to do the basic wireframing. Oh, let me see here. I keep hitting the wrong, I want to copy, and I keep hitting control because at work I'm on a Windows and then I come home and I'm on a Mac and I have to remember, no, you need to go with command. Okay, that is what we are going to be using to mock up the low fidelity wireframe. I'll put them in both. What time are we at here? We're at like 6:30.
We're at 6:28.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what we're doing because this is gonna. Okay. Well, let's do this. I just put the link to what we're actually going to be using tonight in the chat and in Slack. Why don't we have everybody go to there, sign up for free account so that we can actually do this. It is, Carolyn. We get everybody to sign up for that so that we can dive into that after we go over a little Bootstrap. I'm gonna log out real quick so that I can jump back in, and that way I can share when we get into actually doing the wireframe. We can all do it together and I can share my screen and make sure everybody's where they need to be. Does that sound
I'm sorry,
all right?
I'm sorry, Ken, I know you're, but which thing are we using? The one from the InView site or
The Envision, it's
Envision?
the Envision app. Yep. I would like for everybody to go to that website and just sign up for the free account.
Yep, I think I did already.
Okay, that's
I did
good.
something with it. Maybe I downloaded it with, I don't know, I'll double check, but all right. Good.
Yep.
But that's where we're going. All right. Thank you.
Yes, that's what we're going to do. So if everybody goes there and signs up for a free one, Dana, I'm going to log out real quick and fix that so that I can share my screen. And before we dive into that, we'll go over some more Bootstrap grid system stuff because I just want to make sure that we get that kind of down before we get into laying out this. So I will be back in 1 minute.
Cool. Excuse me, Dana, do you know if we should pick solo or with a team, or does it not matter?
Your options are solo and team.
Yeah, I'm
You're going to
guessing
want to
it's
go
solo.
with solo because
Okay.
team will probably charge you. So you want to definitely pick that solo option when you're creating your account.
Okay, thanks.
So if I already created an account, but I chose the team or group option, I have to like get rid of my account?
That should be fine as long as they're not requiring you to pay for it or requiring any trial, then you should be fine to use that team account that you created.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they are or not, and it's not actually an application that's downloaded, correct? Yet, it's just an account. So
Yeah,
how,
it's just an account. I would think that you could either change it or cancel it.
okay, I gotta figure out how to
Me-
change it.
Give me 1 second to look at that and see.
Yeah.
there.
Okay, I'll go on mute. I'll look at it.
So, Max, back in the COBOL days, they had something called the flow chart. Is this like a similar concept to that? Do you know, or do they still use flow charts?
So flowcharts can be used for one of two things. They can help you understand what is supposed to happen when you click on a button. Going back even further, it was laying out the whole app. So the idea that you have behind an app is that you're going to wireframe it first. And the wireframe is going to lay out all of your buttons and kind of figure out what the general layout is without any design. From there, you layer in what's called a mockup and a high fidelity mockup, which is this notion of this is how I want it to work before I touch a piece of code. And then finally, the step is, of course, to get it coding and then get it all working. So that flowchart step is normally comes somewhere between the mockup and the wireframe itself, right? This notion of, well, what happens when I click on this button? And that's normally what flowcharting is used for, is kind of layering in some information about functionality on top of a wireframe.
Okay, all right. So they all kind of work. They kind of work in unison with each other.
Dana, can you see that?
Yes, I can. It
Is it-
says select a team to launch.
Right, that's what I wanted. Carolyn, when you log in, is this what you see?
Let me go to that screen and check. Hold on.
So once we're logged in, do you want us to start playing around with a blank template or use the wireframe template that they already have?
I would like for you, we're going to start with a blank because that first page, this one right here, this is what we're actually going to do, because this is part of the project that is going to be going through. We're going to work on this week. So we're going to build this wireframe, and then starting like tomorrow and Wednesday, we'll get into actually coding it out so that it kind of looks like that. I see that face. What is that, Elena?
I don't know. I didn't know if you were like going to share your screen, so I wasn't really sure what you were talking about.
Can you see it? Can you see my screen or no?
All I see is select a team to launch for your screen.
This one? Oh, so you can't see this?
No, I don't have no clue what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's all I see is a select a team to launch.
Okay.
That was the confusion face.
I was wondering why that didn't come up. All right, let me stop real quick and then I'll share it again. And hopefully it'll be on there. Okay, can you see it now?
Not quite yet, but it says that it started screen sharing.
Let me know if you guys can see it or not see it.
Not yet, but I'll let you know when we can.
Yep, it just says Hack Upstate has started screen sharing.
This is super annoying. The second link that I sent you, the Adobe link that has the 12 pink grids behind
The
it.
pink one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what you guys are actually I want you guys to do that as a wireframe because that's what we're gonna work on this week.
Okay.
Can you guys not see any of that?
No, we can't, but I have it pulled up on my screen, so I know what you're talking about.
All right, let me stop sharing then because what's the point of me sharing it if you guys can't see it?
Are you back on the Adobe slides?
I just had that one open, just the one, the one with the 12 grid pink that.
Oh, the
Christy
pink
had-
one?
Yeah,
Okay, I'll go back to that.
because that's what they're actually, I want them to be able to put that in the wireframe. That's what we're gonna do is for a wireframe tonight. Because later this week, that's what we're gonna do when we start writing our HTML and CSS code. That's what you guys are gonna code out. That picture right there with the header and the home and the shop and the about. So you're gonna get those boxes all set and ready to go by using the Envision.
Let me see if I can share that for you again. Let me move my face out of the way. This pink box right here.
Yeah.
Can everyone see that? Okay. Maybe I can make it a little bigger. And I put a couple of definitions in the chat. I know some of you take notes. So the first one is about wireframes, which Max was explaining. And then the second one is about flowcharts, also called user flows. So if you have some place where you're collecting notes, these two items would be great to add to your collection.
So is everyone in Envision? Have they signed up? Are they signed in? You're good to go. Cha says yes.
What do we use? for the
I'm
team
still
name?
treading water, but I'll figure it out.
Okay, hold on. You gotta get to. Give me
Yeah,
a
I'm
minute,
trying to
Carolyn.
get
We'll get
signed
you figured out.
in.
Okay, what was your question?
What do we use for a team name? Because I just downloaded it and it's asking for set up your team name.
That's what I wanted to see where you got, like, that's what I was asking Carolyn, because if you guys had seen my screen when I was sharing, I can try this one more time and see if it comes up.
I can see it now. It says
Okay.
select the team to
Yeah.
launch. Great.
I don't think that you need to do a team. Usually if it's a team, it's if you're going to collaborate with somebody, like if you were, I'm pretty sure that with Envision, if you choose that one, you can collaborate with your client right away or collaborate with a team member. You don't need to do that. If you can select the personal one, that's the one that I would select. You have
Okay.
that option. If you have that option, select the personal one. Carolyn, do you have that option?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
My finger's getting tired switching all these screens. Not anymore, I don't. When I initially set it up this afternoon, when I was reading the article and everything, I chose Teams because I thought we'd be using it like to work with each other. And I didn't get the option for personal, and now I don't see this screen. All I see is my team name or whatever, and I can add new teams. And I can't seem to find where to get rid of that or where to get rid of my account altogether and start over. They don't make it easy, do they? They
Interesting.
don't want you to leave.
Let's see what happens.
So when that's all done, should we be on a page that says, let's get started?
Oh, billing. Okay, maybe that would work. Let's see here.
To answer your question, Karen, I'm going to say yes. Give me 1 second here.
All right, so. Go. Oops.
Did you find it, Karen? Or I mean, Carolyn, sorry. And Karen, you should be, if you select.
Okay, I keep unmuting. I keep muting myself and trying to go fix it out, and then I got to come back. Let me play a little more, and I'm just going to keep it on unmute, and hopefully we won't have any noise come from my house. Okay, well, let's see here. I'll figure it out. Let's see.
So Karen, when you, what did you select? Did you select the personal or did you select the Teams one?
Oh, actually, I heard Max when he said to select the individual.
Okay, so is this what you see? Do you see this try a sample, create a project screen? Or did you go farther than that?
Oh, no, I have let's get started. What do you do?
No, there's nothing in Bill.
And then it has engineer, founder, researcher.
Okay, so they
Yeah.
want to know what you do.
I picked
And
developer.
you can either check one of those or you can
Designer.
you can check the other.
Mhm.
And that's what I did. I checked other and I wrote in software developer.
Okay.
And when you hit next, it'll take you to the next screen.
How do you get rid of your account?
I'm looking for that information too to try to help you.
Yeah, I looked
No.
under billing and I don't want to click on anything there because it will kick off billing.
Do you have a, Carolyn, does your
Yes,
screen look anything like this at all with the Teams?
let me see here. I gotta go back in. Okay, right now, oh no, that's my website, excuse me. I need like 6 monitors, like in Silicon Valley, if you've ever seen that movie. No, I did see that earlier today. Do you want me to screen share?
Yeah, I'll stop so you can share. And then maybe I can
Okay.
point you in the right
Let's
direction
see.
here.
Hold on here. All
How's
right.
everyone else? Is everyone else all signed in, good to go?
Okay, then mine is saying, what would you like to do next?
Oh,
Oh,
feedback.
sorry about that.
Okay, I found the link on information on how to downgrade your plan. So I'm going to put that into the chat.
Okay, brainstorm some ideas.
Okay.
All right, Carolyn.
All right, let me click on that.
Okay.
And downgrading your vision plan. See, apparently I picked a.
So apparently, let's see. To
I'm gonna
downgrade to the
suggest,
free plan,
Karen,
you have
that
to
you
be signed
keep going, Karen, and we'll Carolyn, we'll catch back up with you later in the course.
Yeah, I don't want to stop anybody because I can watch this later too. So I
Okay,
don't want to, I appreciate it, Karen, but I don't want to bog everybody down.
Nope.
And
That's
I'll
okay.
copy and paste the directions that they have into the chat for you, Carolyn.
Fantastic. Thanks, Dana.
Yeah.
Let me make sure I'm mutated here.
Okay. Does everybody have an option to either create a project or try a sample, or are you in somewhere where you can do that? I'm just gonna click on this plus that was up here in the corner of my page so that I can do create a new freehand. You can name it whatever you want. I'm just going to name it the CIC. Mine, I'm going to name CIC wireframe and hit create. And we're just going to start with a blank. So then you would have something that looks like this.
Is there a way to get the actual grids behind us so we can see them while we work, or should we not worry about that?
That's a good question. I have not played with this enough to notice that. And I don't know if you can do that in the free version. So it's a sticky note, that's images. Oops. I don't. I want.
If not, it should be like the same difference, because you said if we don't, like, it'll just kind of force stuff into position, you said. So if we just kind of guess at
When
the
you-
size.
Right. When we get into coding and when you start giving them sizes, it'll force whatever, if you don't set the size, it'll force the size. So if you only set one column at say 4, it's going to force everything else to be an 8. If you have 3 columns laid out and you set one at 4, it'll set the other 2 at 4 because you have 3 columns there. I was looking to see.
I found some information on rulers and grids.
Oh, where did you find that, Dana?
I'm going to send it to you right now.
Perfect.
Let's see, grids. It says the following grid settings are available. I'm looking to see how we can activate them. One moment, please. It says to use a grid, select an artboard, and under layout grid in the inspector panel, click columns, rows, and grid check boxes as wanted. So when you click on the link that I just put into the chat, you can scroll down and there's a section that says using grids.
I want to select an artboard. yesterday when I started playing with this, when I played with this for a while, I didn't have that issue. I just, so like this would have been the header. I just lost my-
There is a shortcut to toggle the grid. If it works, it looks like it's Control G. If you want to try that.
Let me see if I can find.
Can I jump in, Karen, for a second?
Yeah, absolutely, because this is,
I'm gonna can you enable screen sharing under security? It should say allow participants to screen share.
you should be good to go.
Okay. And let me just grab, here we go. Okay, so I am completely purple. I apologize in advance, but this is your home screen for InVision. If you've already hit create, that's completely fine. But I did create something using a team, and I did not enter my credit card information. I did not hit a trial, any of that. So if you create an account with a team, you don't need to worry about trying to cancel or delete your account and start over. It's fine just to work within that team space. So I'm going to hit create up at the top here. I know you guys may be at different steps, but the important thing that we want to pick here is freehand. Each one of these features is a completely different mode and in InVision, and they all help get your app out. But the thing that we want to do here is freehand, because you notice right underneath it, it says code draw, wireframe, and present in real time. That wireframe is the important part that we want to be working with. So I'm going to pop open freehand, and then it says name your freehand. So we're just going to call this test playground. You can call it whatever you want, doesn't really matter at this point. We're just getting used to the tool. So when we hit create there, It's going to flash up a couple things, and then it's going to show me all of these templates. Now, you think you would pick wireframe, but because we're starting from scratch, we want to pick blank up here. All right, so now that we're in, basically wireframing is a bunch of boxes, right? So let's play around a little bit. We're not going to go jump in directly and try and recreate the mockup. We kind of want to figure out the tool. And then I'll hand it back over to Karin, and Karin can start talking through how we take requirements and convert them into the wireframe. So the default tool is this little pencil. Up at the top, you have all your different color options, right? So I can draw a line, and you notice it kind of smooths it out for me and helps it make it look good. The other option I have over here is I can grab this shape or hit the S button on my keyboard and just draw a little rectangle. From that rectangle, I can go, oh, well, maybe I want a smaller rectangle up at the top to represent my logo. So I'm going to do that. Now I'm going to draw back to my pencil. I can also hit the P key on the keyboard, and I can just draw a little line, right? And that's going to represent some text. And now I can draw another line, and it's going to show up as more text, right? So what that helps us do is start laying things out on the screen, start trying to figure out what's going where. A little shortcut for you if you're going, oh, that line looks fine, but that squiggle is going to drive me crazy. You can hold down the Shift key while you are drawing, and that will show you that will make the line completely straight. So what we're able to do is start going in here and start laying things out. Now the shortcut for undo is going to be Command Z. The other thing that you'll want to do is jump into this little pointer tool and get used to highlighting multiple things. So if I want to get rid of everything on here, I can click and drag with my mouse as long as I'm in this pointer tool over on the left, and that's going to let me highlight multiple things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a file in the Zoom chat for everyone. If I can figure out how to do that. Just kidding. I'm going to share a file in the CIC student C2 Slack. And you notice it has those red outlines, and it's going to look a little weird. And so let me just quickly change my screen sharing here. So I'm in the CIC student C2 channel, and here's this image that popped up. Don't worry if your Slack is a different color, but what we're looking for is this little download icon, right? And so that's what we want to download. That is, it is a template for the grid that we will be able to see in our InVision. So I'm going to click that little download button, and you should notice this pops up, right? So I'm just going to hit save and save it to my downloads. From there, I'm going to hop back over to my InVision. And what you'll learn on the Mac is everything is very drag and drop friendly, right? So I'm going to pop back open into my InVision. Now, if you have the downloads folder in your dock, that's great. If not, you can click on Finder down in your dock in the bottom left. And then over on the sidebar, it should say something called Downloads. And so all I'm going to do is in my downloads, I'm going to grab the download, the 12 col grid download, and I'm going to drop it into my InVision. So let me share my other screen so we can walk through that all together.
Max, that last part, you downloaded the grid from Slack into the downloads folder and then just had them drag and drop from downloads, correct?
You got it. All right, so I'm gonna share this screen so you guys are not overloaded. Okay, so again, I'm in Slack here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit that little download button, right? And then it's gonna, it may ask where you wanna save it. Just go to your downloads folder and hit save there. So I'm gonna open up Finder here, and Finder now looks like this. So over on the left, you can see all of my files here. I'm going to pick downloads on the left, and I'm going to find that file that I downloaded. It's called 12 col grid. From there, I've got my blank InVision file up here. And what I'm going to do is just position the windows so I've got space for both of them. And then just grab that image, click and hold, and drag it over to InVision. From there, I'm able to drop, and you'll see that come up. Now, you can play with the zoom a little bit on InVision down here in the bottom right. So if that's coming in a little too big for you, you can click that minus button, and it's going to zoom you out so you can see more things on the screen. So if Karin is all right with this, because I don't mean to hijack your class, but maybe now's a good time for a break, and we can have everyone kind of catch up to this step. And then when we come back, we can start playing around with InVision a little bit more. But that will give us a chance for anyone who is stuck to share their screens, and we can get you all caught up.
That was my plan, yeah.
Cool.
At this point, to take a break, let them do whatever, and we can help anybody catch up. Because when we come back from break, I just want them to play with it first before we even get into trying to attempt the actual wireframe that we need to do. So say 7:20. Is that good for everybody?
So take a break. If you've got your grid loaded into InVision, you're good to go. Take your break. We'll see you at 7:20. Otherwise, just raise your hand in Zoom, and we'll help you through wherever you're stuck.
I don't have any questions right now in the chat. I don't see anyone with their hand raised.
Maybe when they come back from break, they may have a couple questions.
Yeah.
Okay, so I am here, Dana.
Oh, how are you?
Okay, so I have my little my InVision open and everything. I just haven't downloaded the file. Is that
Yep.
download?
Yep. So you have it downloaded, or you haven't downloaded it yet?
I haven't.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to open up Slack.
Okay, wait a minute. Let me minimize that. You want me to open up Slack? Ew, that should be down here.
If you're having trouble finding it, Command space is your friend. So if you hit the Command button and and press it, and then space once and let go of both, it should pop up Spotlight Search.
Okay.
And from there, you can just type in Slack and hit Enter, and it should pop right up.
Okay, done downloading. Next, connect account. You'll be right there.
You want to share your screen so we can see where you're at?
Yeah, I can do that. Let's back over here to Zoom. Share screen. Share.
Okay, so you're in the process of downloading Slack right now, but I want to see, I think you already have it installed. So what we're going to do is go down to Finder in the bottom left, and then pop open Applications over here, and then scroll down in that list and see if you have Slack in there already.
I'm pretty sure I do here. Oh, what did I do?
Use 2 fingers to scroll back over to the left. And then you can use 2 fingers up and down to scroll as well. Okay, there's Slack. Right there. Yep, so just double click on that blue area. So I would recommend anyone who's still here, you want to have Slack open all class because we're going to be posting resources in here. So I would get in the habit right at the beginning of class of opening up Slack. So Karin, what we're going to do is we're going to scroll up a little bit in this main area right here. So if we get our mouse kind of positioned up here, we're going to just use 2 fingers and scroll up.
Okay, here we go.
Yep, perfect. Oh, not too far. Go back a little further down. Okay, and if we just kind of hover over this, this is the grid that we want to download. So if you just kind of jiggle your mouse a little bit, what's going to happen is that little cloud icon is going to come up. So where you want that one. So click on that. Okay, and now that downloaded for you. So what we're going to do is let's hop back over to Envision. Did you have Envision up already?
I did. I think I minimized it.
Okay, you don't have anything minimized now. So let's see, were you doing that in Safari or Chrome?
I believe it was in Chrome, yeah.
Okay, so let's click on Chrome down here at the bottom left. And what that's going to do is it's going to pop open any Chrome windows. So I don't see it here. So let's go back. So we're going to get you out of full screen mode first and foremost. So go ahead and put your mouse in the top left corner. With 1 finger, move your mouse all the way to the top left, like shove it up there. There you go. And go ahead and click on that little green icon, and that's going to take you out of full screen mode. So full screen mode works a little differently on the Mac, and it's hard sometimes. You get lost in your window. So now we're out of there. I don't see Envision here. So let's click back here, and what that's going to do is bring Safari up into the foreground. So over where I'm drawing in blue, just in that white space over there, just go ahead and click. There we go. And so there's Envision. It's hiding out right up at the top. Okay, so we made it to Envision. So now all we need to do is upload our grid image. So down here is your downloads in the bottom right. So we're going to click there. Yeah. And then we're going to click and drag this file over to here. Yep, and just let go. And there's your grid. So we can use, yep, you got it. You're all set. So you're caught up now.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. If you want to stop sharing your screen, and I can stick around for anyone else who needs help.
Hey, Max.
Hey.
Hi, I am in Slack and I do not see the link that you just sent.
Okay, Karin, I'm going to ask you to stop sharing your screen.
I thought
up at the top, there should be a little stop sharing button.
Yeah, I thought
Perfect.
I did.
You got it now. That's all that matters.
All right.
Pobelia, can you share your screen with me?
Yes, I can. Okay. I think I can. Share. It's telling me to open system preferences.
Okay, let's go through this step now because you're probably going to need it later on in the class. So
Okay.
you're going to click on Open System Preferences. And then in
Got
the
it.
bottom left, there's going to be a lock. Does it look locked or unlocked?
It's locked.
Okay, so go ahead and click on that.
Okay.
And then it's going to ask you for your Mac password. So go ahead and type that in.
Got it. Okay. It's now unlocked.
Sorry, there are audio issues on my side.
That's okay.
So in the list, do you see Zoom in there?
Zoom, let me see. Oh.
Does it say screen recording on the left list?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so in the center of the screen, it should say Zoom kind of in the middle.
Oh, I see it now. I was looking to the left. I see it.
No problem.
It's
So go ahead.
unchecked.
Okay, go ahead and check that.
Okay.
And then it's gonna make you save and quit.
Okay, so it's quit and reopen. So just, okay.
Yeah, so just before you do that,
And
it's
now it
gonna kick
says-
you out of the meeting. So go ahead and hit quit and reopen and then rejoin the meeting.
Oh, okay.
All right, what sucker's up next?
Shantina?
She's had her hand up for a while.
Sure.
I'm having an issue dragging mine over because of I can't figure out how to do the screens. I was trying to watch what you told Karen, but I missed
Sure,
it.
no problem. Can you share your screen with me?
Yes. Once I hit share screen, oh, I just hit share. Okay.
All right, we got it. All right, so I think what your problem is you actually have the file open. So we're going to close the file. We kind of want to drag in the file itself and not having the file open.
Okay.
So do you have your InVision open? Okay, so you got stuck in the same place that Karin did.
Right.
It's because you're in full screen. So what we're going to do is we're going to take your mouse and shove it all the way in the top left corner and click the little green dot. And that's going to bring you out of full screen mode. And so now you're going to be able to go to your downloads in the bottom left. Oh, go drag that back to where it was at.
Uh-oh.
Yep, right there. Let go. You have to click on it once to open the downloads. And now you can grab that 12 col grid and drag it into InVision.
Okay, I gotta move this out of the way. So click on this and grab it.
Yep, you got it and let go. And there you've got it in.
Thank you.
No problem. That full screen can come back and bite everyone. And it's not like Windows where it just makes it full screen. Full screen on the Mac dumps you into this full screen mode and is like, no, you can have no other windows open. You said full screen, you get full screen.
Right.
And so I try and never click that green button because I find that so annoying. So I try not to use full screen on the Mac just because it kind of gets me stuck into it.
Right. Well, thank you so much.
No problem.
Okay, I'm back.
Welcome. Go ahead and share your screen now.
Thank you. Okay. Oh no. I think I just lost where I was.
So the dock is going to be your friend. If you are trying to get back into Zoom, if you find the Zoom icon, which is the blue icon with the white camera on it, and click on it, that's going to bring your Zoom window back up to the top.
Okay. I have one too many windows popped up. Okay, so I'm back.
Okay, and now you should be able to share screen.
Okay. Is it sharing?
No, not yet. Do you have a share button in the bottom right?
Oh, okay.
Oh, there you go.
Like, duh.
You're coming. All right, you've made it in. Okay, so we're gonna get into where are you at? Have you gotten the file downloaded?
No, I could not find the file. I'm on Slack now and I do not see the file.
Okay, and so the reasoning behind that is I posted it in CIC Student C2 and you're in the resources channel. So what we're going to do is
Okay.
we're going to click on add channels down here.
Oh, okay.
And then we're going to say browse all channels. And from there, we are going to type in CIC dash. Sorry, I'm getting the exact name. Students dash C2.
C2?
Yep. And hit enter. Okay, and now we're going to click on that little join button. If you kind of put your mouse up here, that join button is going to pop up over on that right-hand side.
It's right there?
Right here. Over all the way on the right.
Oh, okay. Right there.
So there's a, okay, yep, you
Oops.
got it. You're in. Okay.
Okay.
So go ahead and click join channel down here at the bottom. And what that's going to do is it's going to say, all right, I want to be part of this. I'm part of the conversation now. So now you can see the file. So what we're going to do is if you kind of put your mouse right there. Yep, you've got the download button. Go ahead.
Okay.
See, now you're cooking with gas. All right, now we want to get back to InVision. So I'm guessing InVision is hiding down here.
Yep. Oh, that's Zoom.
And InVision is up there with it.
Right there. Okay.
Okay, and so what we're going to do is we're going to go to create a new, create a new freehand.
So this one, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And then it's going to try, okay, so go ahead and name this as.
I just did CIC wireframe.
Yep, that's fine.
March, today's the 22nd. I'll name it that.
That's good. Create. Okay, and so we're going to let it load for a second. Okay, and now it's trying to help, but we don't want any of this. We want to just get right to work. So we're going to click blank. Okay, now we're in, we're all ready to go. The last thing we want to do is get our grid file in here. So we're going to click in the bottom right here to open up our downloads.
Over here?
See where the blue, yep. So go ahead and click on that. And then now we're going to drag, hold on. Let's single click on that once.
Again?
Yep, just single click. And now we have it open. So now we can actually drag it. So we're going to grab this up here and click and drag that into this big white area over here.
We're dragging this, the whole, okay, this thing right here, come over here.
Yep, you got it. And just let go.
Okay.
And you've got your grid. So
that
now
took a lot out of me.
it often does. So down here, you've got your zoom controls.
Okay. All right.
And so you can just hit the plus or the minus there, and that's going to zoom you in and out.
Okay, I can't see if there's a picture in the way.
Right here.
Oh, okay. Oh, I got it.
And that's just going to zoom you in and out. So you're all caught up.
Pretty good. Okay, well, thank you.
No problem.
Okay.
Any other questions? I know everyone should be getting back from break. Phobelia, if you could stop sharing your screen, there should be a little button up at the top that says stop share.
Right there?
That's it, probably.
Oh, stop share right there. Okay.
Perfect. You got it.
Okay, thank you.
Randy put in the chat, celebrating different errors.
I absolutely love that. Yes, we celebrate different errors. Anyone else need help catching up? All right, well, I'm going to go find some duct tape to put over my mouth so I don't hijack class anymore. But I will be around if anyone needs help. And I'm going to pass it back over to Karin.
So we're just going to wait for everybody to get back. And once everyone's back, we're just going to kind of play around a little bit before we get into too much here. Everybody's almost here.
So I've gotten everyone set up with the new security settings for Slack. And then something happened. I hit something at the beginning of class, and then I started having a problem with my video connection. And so every time I tried to log back in, it kept saying that there was another session in progress. I thought it was just me, but then I got a text from one of the students saying that they had the same problem. So I'm not exactly sure what happened, but after a few minutes, we were both able to get in. So I guess it resolved itself.
It looks like everyone is just about back. So for like the next 20 to 30 minutes, I just want you guys to play with Envision. Just put some different boxes on there, make some different, just create something of your own that you would like to do. And before we dive right into that though, I do want to go over one thing. There's always requirements, right? If you get a client who says, hey, I would like to have this website, you know, and I want all of these things, what are some of the requirements that they would need? You guys tell me, what are some requirements that a client would need? A logo, right? Yep. What else? Yep. So Brandy said a header, footer, yep. Plugin for the product link, yep. The number of pages, yep. Pictures, those, you're gonna need all of those. Logos, all of that stuff. So when you do that, the best thing to do is to write down your requirements, right? Start down by writing down what the requirements are that the client needs, or whatever your job, whoever it is. And then you need, once you get those requirements laid out, start figuring out where they would go, right? Where would you put the logo? Somebody's got to tell me, where would you put the logo?
Top left.
Top left is, that's a good, yeah. Yep, top, in the top. You can put it in the bottom, but most of them are, you know, if you go to any website, that's the first thing you'll see there in the top left. What else? What are you going to put in the body? Text, video, yep. Would you do something for app version logo?
You would put the main content in the body?
Yes, you would put the main content in the body. Right. And your main content is going to be, it can consist of all of those things. It can text, video, pictures, your images, you know, paragraph, any type of, anything of that you would want. Social media icons, yep. You're gonna usually, a lot of times those are at the bottom. They're in the footer. What about if you're building, like, how did you guys get into Envision? What did you have to do?
Sign in.
You had to sign in, that's right. So that's something that you need to think about. If you have more than one page, is it something where that the user's gonna have to log in, sign in, right?
Right.
And are you gonna just stay in it, or?
Passwords.
Passwords, yep, passwords. What do you do when you're done?
Log out.
You log out. So you gotta think about that if you're gonna log out. That's generally if you have something where you're logging in and logging out. There are, you know, you can go to a website and shop, right, without having to log in. But as soon as you want to buy something, what do they want you to do?
Shopping cart.
Right, yeah, you have to put everything in the shopping
Check
cart.
out.
When you're
Check out.
ready to check out, what do they want you to do?
They want you to put your credit card or debit card in.
Yeah, some kind of billing information. Yep.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right.
Get that.
And a lot of times they'll say you have two options, right? Which are usually what?
cash or credit card, not cash or credit card.
Before you even put your billing information in, right? You get to the cart and you go to the checkout. A lot of times there's websites and they say what? Continue as.
Existing customer or new customer.
Thank you. Yes. Yep. Right. So you check out. 404 pages is a good idea. Yeah. You know, may not necessarily be your fault that the link breaks, but sometimes you get a bad link and they go and they can't get in. So if you have a 404 page for when there are issues, that's always a good thing. Right? So with all of these, what are you sending me, Max?
I was just gonna say those requirements are completely on point. So what happens oftentimes is you get all these requirements from the client and you go, where do I even start, right? And so the next step after that is breaking it down at a page by page level. And so that, Karin, that was the thing I was going to suggest you do next.
Oh, okay. I think I only have the one though. I'm not sure where the others are.
Oh no, just on that page alone, out of all the requirements that we just threw out, kind of narrowing it down to that one page and going, all right, what are all the things that the requirement that the client will want based off of this requirement, right? And so normally the order happens in reverse. Normally you get the client who gives you all of this stuff. And sometimes they don't mention everything that you know they're going to need, right? A client isn't going to know, oh, you know what, search is something that I want. They're just going to assume that search is something that you add in there. And so once you kind of take the client requirements and then the requirements that you know the client wants but didn't specifically mention, you're then able to go and start getting your wireframe at that page by page level of thinking about, okay, what's going to go on every page? What's going to go on the header? All right, what's going to go in the footer? Kind of breaking it out from there. But what I'm going to suggest that you guys do is take the wireframe that we already have and brainstorm out what are the requirements based off of this final wireframe that we have. What are all the things specifically coming from that page?
So hopefully this will work. I'll try this again. Okay, so if we look at this, which is going to be our final wireframe, let's go over I'm not good at doing the spreadsheets like Max, so sorry. It's not I'm bad
Karin,
at that.
If you just open open a blank Google Docs or anywhere you can just start typing and making a list out, we can start brainstorming out what are all the things in this page that would be the requirements.
This is probably not going to come over here now.
Nope, you're good. You got it. And if you can just scrunch that down so we can still see the wireframe.
Yeah, give me a second here. It's like huge. Bringing
No problem.
From one to another. So I think I can. I could get rid of this.
All right, perfect.
All right. Can you guys still see that? Oh no, of course you can't see that. It makes it really small though.
Okay, so if we look at the nav bar alone, what I see 5 requirements of that nav bar. What do you guys see?
The logo, home, shop, about, search, and cart.
Absolutely. So that's as simple as the requirements can be, right? all right, I need a nav bar on each page. I want my logo to show up. I want the ability to always get back to the home screen. Shop is going to be a separate page with products. About just going to be an info page, and I need the ability to search. Now, that ability to search could take you 2 or 3 weeks to figure out how to implement that, right? Now, adding the about page or the logo in the header could be a couple minute task, right? So we're not quite at the project management level here. We're only thinking about the design. And so, this is where we start getting requirements from the client. So let's go to the body next. What do you see about the images there? Because saying image isn't quite enough. There's some other underlying things there. Just in this section alone, I'm going to highlight it in blue. Just in that section alone, I see probably 3 different requirements. What do you guys think that those requirements are? Yeah, Latonia, you've got it. You need a gallery feature. You need the ability to show one picture large. You need the ability to click on thumbnails underneath that picture. And you probably need the ability to swap out the thumbnail with the featured image, right? And so sometimes requirements aren't just about your layout, they're often about the functionality as well. Now, that functionality isn't going to go in your wireframe. Your wireframe is strictly layout. But when you start talking about that flow chart and moving into your mockup, that's when you want to layer in some notes. So that you can go, oh, when they hover over a thumbnail, the feature image should be replaced with a thumbnail image. Little things like that. So I'm going to butt out again, but I would encourage you to keep going through this page and finding every little piece of information that you need. Because once you are able to do that, now you can take your requirements, your list of requirements, and start creating your own mockup in InVision.
So somebody's going to have to tell me if they put something in chat, because I can't see that at all.
Nope, you're good. I'm keeping an eye on it, and I'll let Dana jump back over for that.
So what else do we have that's in the body content container that's requirement? Because it's not just that feature image and the thumbnails. What else is there?
Shaw says product title.
Product title.
Some kind of counter going on. So when the person chooses how many of that item they want,
quantity, right?
It's not just facing you, it's got to do something.
Mm-hmm. Sarah said add to cart button.
Let's see.
Maybe product.
When I have it in this view, I can't see it very well. Let's see here.
Oh, that would be title, I guess.
There's at least 2 more things in there that you guys need to mention.
Product information.
Yep.
No, I can't see it.
Might need to make the grid area a little bit bigger. Some people are saying that they're having trouble reading what's there.
Can't see it.
The price.
That's the other one. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So that takes care of your. I can try and make this bigger, but I'm not so sure that it'll.
Oh yeah, that helps.
Okay. All right. So that takes care of like your body and content, right? So now where are we at?
The footer?
The footer.
The footer. And what it just one.
shipping and
What-
return policy,
I still can't see it.
terms of service, contact information.
Yep, so you have shipping and returns. Contact, right?
Yep.
What's the other one? Oh, terms of service.
Terms and services.
What else is in the footer?
Email subscription title.
Email, yep.
I still can't see it. Is there somewhere else I can look at it?
Yeah,
I've tried making it. It doesn't work on my monitor, so I can't.
you should be
There,
able, I
that-
threw
yeah.
it in the CIC.
I can drop the link in the chat.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
that's
it's
a
also
little
in-
better.
It's
Yeah.
also in the CIC students C2 channel.
I dropped the link in the chat as well.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank
Elena.
you. Thank you. I'm
So you got-
nearsighted as it is, so it's like so I can't answer your questions because I can't see the little flies on the screen there. Okay. Thanks.
Ariel asked, do you need a sitemap or is that more SEO purposes?
I don't know the answer to that question. I'm gonna have to look that up unless Max knows. Or
Yeah,
Caitlin.
so the sitemap is along the same lines. The sitemap normally gets generated after you create your site, but it's good to start thinking about that early on in the process, right? So what we just went over in our wireframe is one page, right? It's just the product page. But we're gonna want to have a lot more pages, and we've already seen that in the nav bar, right? We've got our home, we've got our about, we've got the shop page. The shop page is going to have search results. We're going to have the product itself. And so that's when we start getting into, oh, wow, there are a lot of different pages that we need here. So over the next, I'm going to say 6 to 10 weeks throughout the modules, we're going to keep building onto this functionality. And so we're going to keep adding more and more pages to it. This module alone, we're just going to get our wireframes figured out and then figure out very basic layout from there. The sitemap is definitely helpful for SEO purposes. It is less helpful these days because crawlers or bots are able to kind of figure out your whole site so quickly. But the sitemap is not a super important part of this step. However, the one part of the sitemap that I would say is helpful is like figuring out how many pages you're going to have. So less from the technical standpoint of I need to make sure my sitemap is formatted correctly, and more from the perspective of what are my pages going to be.
What's the last thing that we need to put on there for the requirements in the footer? What does this do?
And he says a button.
Yep, you need a button. And usually that would probably be like a submit button. Okay, so that we went over all the requirements, right, that we would need. So we'll say for the next 20 minutes, I just want you guys to play with InVision yourself. Just create something of your own. It doesn't have to be this. Once 8 o'clock comes, then we'll try and have you try out this actual page of the wireframe that we're going to be working on throughout the module and have you guys do that. But I want you to play with InVision for like the next 20 minutes. Just make up your own thing, do whatever it is that you want, just to get a feel for how it works, what works, what doesn't.
For those of you who need inspiration as far as using your grids and page layout, I actually just put a link in Slack. It's to Canva. Canva is like really popular for people who need inspiration for graphic design, templates for social media to make your pages and ads more dynamic and things like that. So they actually had a feature story about grid and page layout and stuff. So
Bentley, you already have something done. I want to see that. You don't have to share your screen if you don't want to, but that I want to see your hot dog
stand. I like beef hot dogs with chili, a little cheese, and a little mustard.
Bentley, you're going to want to click that green share screen button. If you're having trouble sharing your screen, let us know because if it asks you to open up system preferences, we can walk you through those steps. But everyone going through that, I know you guys have probably heard it a couple times, but we're going to want to use screen share throughout the whole course. If you get stuck, screen share is pretty much the only way that we can help you get unstuck because we can see your screen. So I work in a fully remote company, and screen sharing, I don't think I would still have my job to this day if it weren't for being able to screen share and see each other's screen. So while the Mac makes it a little challenging to give Zoom permission to share your screen, it's a worthwhile process to do that because later in the course, we're definitely going to continue to rely on that.
And I think one of the other things that you did, Max, once you got into screen share last week was that you were even actually able to take over someone else's computer to provide another level of assistance there, which I think is great.
So as you guys are creating things, if you have questions, feel free to throw them in chat or unmute and ask them.
Yep.
Otherwise, feel free to share your screen and kind of let us know where you're at or what you're creating. I don't know, Dana or Karin, do you have access to create a breakout room?
I do.
If you could create a breakout room and put Carolyn and I in it, I can help her get through her InVision account issues.
Yeah, I just said that we could do it after class if she wanted, but if you're willing to do that, that would be great.
Yeah, that would be super helpful. Thank you.
Okay, one moment.
Look at you go, Bentley. Holy smokes. Look at that nice little hot dog stand thing you got going on there. See, you got a menu. Whoa.
Yeah, I started having fun with it because I was like, okay, website development, that's like just layout stuff, right? And then I was like, hot dog stand, that's where it's at.
That's good.
And
see,
so
this is really good because you'll want to start thinking about requirements for your capstone and doing this for your capstone.
And you'll be amazed at when you go in and you open up that code editor and you go, all right, I need to make a website. What's it supposed to look like, right? And when you're coming at it from that code perspective, it's so hard to figure out what you want to code out, right? But when you have a visual tool like InVision, you can kind of just brain dump into it, right? Oh, I need a little header over here, and that logo is going to show up here, and the search is going to go over here. And then once you have that finished product, at that point, you're able to get into your code and start going, oh, well, this is clearly going to take up, three out of the 12 in the grid. And oh, this is going to be in the center, so I need that to be this wide. And it's much easier to pull apart that wireframe. But when you're starting from scratch and you just, you don't have it visualized, it becomes so much harder to convert that into code. So even to this day, when my boss comes to me and goes, I need this feature, I need it to do this, I grab out my notebook and I draw a square and I start just putting things in, because going from the code directly is a very hard thing to do. And so that's why we're going over this tool, right? It may seem so simple, it may not seem like a lot, but really what you're doing is exactly what Bentley did, is using that to create a visual, because now once you have that visual, Caitlin is going to teach you in the following module how to pull apart all of those components and start loading them up into your code.
It'll help. Max is right. It will help because it helped me. When I did a mock-up like that, and when I started doing mock-ups like that for class to show about our capstone, it was like, oh, okay, well, now I know that I need to have this function at this point of my code. Something to me.
Max, I'm almost done assigning the room. The first time I opened it up, I didn't realize that I only had it available for 1 minute and it timed out while you were talking.
Thank you.
I set it for unlimited this time. I'm about to put you and Carolyn in there.
That's what happened. Was it something I said?
No, I realized I was talking in the middle of it and went, I
Yeah.
really need to just shut up.
No, you're awesome. I
Who
love
else has
this.
something to share? Yes, Carolyn.
I was just going to say that I finally found the tab. I had 2 Chrome things open and everything was all over, that has the how to fix your password. So I'm going to try and do that now on my own.
Go ahead and hit join and I'll help you out through that.
Oh, all right. Thank you.
All right. Goodbye, you two. Cool.
Okay, who's got something they want to share? Anybody?
Don't be shy.
Or do you have questions?
Let's see. Fabilia is smiling like she wants to share something. Can't hear you. You have to unmute.
Not yet.
So would you say at this point in the game, Karin, you are looking to see where they're putting their boxes, and like what are you looking for at this point as they play?
I just want to see what they play with, you know, like
okay.
it's not, you know, I want them to get used to being able to use Envision.
Right.
You know, Bentley was able to play with it and pretty much, you know, he mocked up something pretty quick. Brielle, did you have a question or did you want to share, or what do you want to do?
I have something to share, but I do the Zoom call on my tablet, so I can use my MacBook and second monitor. So if I just switch my camera here, then that was.
Oh, okay. See, yeah,
that is so cute.
Yes, something. It's a lot to think about when you put it all together.
Yeah, that's why it's good to make a list of their requirements, so that when you start, like, you know, you go in and you're like, okay, well, I have this requirement, I need a logo. I have this requirement, I need this, I need a header, I need a navigation bar. What's in my navigation bar? Well, I need all of these things. That starts to help you. Making the list of requirements is, you know, that's where you should start. Make your list of requirements. Then you start laying out each part of it, because you're going to have more than one page.
Oh yes, so I can only imagine. I keep thinking about your whiteboard and how it might be very useful to have such a large space you guys keep talking about to write all of the many plans out.
When that whiteboard that I put in the slide, and you guys can see it because they're in it, like, you know, you have access to those slides. That's in my bedroom. I came home from class one night and I said to my husband, and I'm like, we're going shopping this weekend. And he goes, well, I said, I'm getting a whiteboard. He goes, just what? I said, no, I'm getting a whiteboard. And I went and I bought this giant piece of whiteboard at like Home Depot or something. And I don't even think he cut it. He was like, well, don't you want? I said, no, don't cut it. I said, you're just going to put it on the wall. He goes, are you crazy? I said, just put it on the wall. So he put 2 strips and put it on the wall, and I used it. couldn't tell you how many different times I used it throughout the program. You You know, that was one of them. When we got to the part in one of the when you get to the module where you start doing databases, I used it for that. It comes in really handy. And when I used it to do this part of it, the wireframing, not so much with the boxes and the grid and everything, I just was like, okay, I have this button, I want to do this, and it's going to go here. That helped me then take and make a wireframe, but I made more of a high fidelity wireframe when I did it, but it helped a lot.
I
Also, something I want to share.
have a question.
Sure.
For the class. So it came up again, talking about getting requirements from the client. And Max mentioned something last week that I thought of that helps to tie last week's class into this week's class in another way. He mentioned something called scope creep. Does anyone remember what that is? Brielle, I see you nodding your head.
Yeah, he was talking about how it's easy to keep adding things onto projects and losing that minimum value product, the MVP he talked about, because you can always make the project bigger and better, and it's going to take more time and more money, and you have to keep that in mind because the client might not be happy with that.
And Bentley said in the chat that the projects can get out of control.
That is 100% right.
Yeah, and now that you tie the wireframe into this, now you have another tool in your toolkit to help you to prevent scope creep, because now you actually have a visual that you can share with the client to get the basics out of the way. So now you have two things.
Does anybody want to share what they did?
I'll check and see if anyone has their hand raised. Oops.
Are you guys pretty comfortable with navigating through Envision? Caitlin, I'm getting crickets.
So I don't have any hands raised. If you all can just, okay, LaTanya said yes. And also feel free to take yourself off of mute if you just want to respond verbally.
So at this point, if you guys are comfortable with using Envision and you're good, yes, Brandy, a lot of times they are based upon what the client wants, which is why it's good to do the requirements so that you know what the client wants. If you guys are good with navigating Envision, I would like you to try and get that one page that we're going to be working on in the wireframe. Set that one up.
I just want to add to Brandy's question. At my job, so there's a reason that there are different job titles that do so many different things, because when you think about the scope of a very large website, I don't know if you guys remember, but I work for Raymore and Flanagan. So if you go on their website, it's huge. There's pages and pages and pages and so many moving parts. And it's a big job. So there's a bunch of front-end developers, there's back-end developers, there are people who design the wireframes and the mock-ups for like what it should look like on mobile, what it should look like on a desktop, what the different pages should look like. And then there are the owners, the product owner, which in our case would be the owner of the company. And then there's other product owners within IT and other departments that basically tell them, these are the requirements we want, make it look like this. And they go back and forth with each other, and it's just a whole process. And there's tons and tons of people that work to make just one page look the way that it does. So it's really helpful for you guys to learn all these little skills too, even though you may not use them on a daily basis. If you are like a front-end developer, for example, you will use them in your head because you're going to get requirements and you're going to have to think about, what does it look like already? What do they want it to look like? And how can I make that work with what I know and how a website is set up and how a page works and how it all goes together. So this skill is like a very valuable skill, and it allows you to talk to people who do different jobs in like an IT department essentially, or who other people who work on the web page. So they are based on client design, and there's like a whole kind of like train of people who make things happen. And you're kind of like the last one who like puts it all together. That puts the vision together into a visual page. So it's kind of cool. But that's kind of how that works.
Right. Because with my job right now, even though what we're doing is for the owner of the company, and we're doing an intercompany portal, right? So it's all of the people in the office, accounting and payroll and safety, and the guys who set up the routes for the drivers, all that stuff. They're actually going to be able to use this intercompany portal. So right now, what I'm doing is my boss comes and he says, okay, here are 14 different pictures. This is the feature that you need to work on and get it working and make it look like this. So this will, even though you may not do this in your job, knowing how to do it and knowing that it's done will help you in your job. If you guys get the wireframe done, just let us know so we know that you have that, because that's pretty much what the rest of class is going to be, making sure you guys get that page on the wireframe done and answering any questions you guys have. Oh, I see you over there waving your hand. What can I do for you, Carolyn?
Hi, Karen. Great breakout session. I'm always the one that breaks something. All right. The IT people used to say, don't have all these windows open. What are you downloading this software? Well, I'm locked out of InVision right now because Chrome, I don't have my other Bookmark Manager downloaded just yet. So Chrome is doing what Chrome does, and it keeps putting in the old password, and then I'm like, I thought it was me. So I obviously can't proceed forward doing what you're doing right now. However, got the video, the notes, all this stuff I'm taking. And so I should be able to get in tomorrow and play around a bit in the first part of the day. So, but I can't give you anything. I can't show you anything right now, except that I'm flexible and I can handle it, which isn't bad.
Nope, that's good. Even if Carolyn, if you can't get in InVision and do it, and you understand the concepts and do it on paper, that's the main thing. You need to understand the concepts behind,
which I'm going to want to do first anyway, I think, because that's how I did, like with Dave's, and we're talking back in 1999 web development. Okay. It doesn't cut mustard now, but it gives me something to hang my hat on. And we did the scheme. I forget what we called it then. We called it the schema or something. So yeah, and I do well listening sometimes if I'm not seeing, because then if I'm in another screen, I can't see what you're doing, but I'm listening. So so it's still happening. I just can't really produce something for you yet. And I haven't been able to be creative yet because so
that's okay.
But it'll happen.
Like I said at the beginning of class, it doesn't have to be in something like this. You can do it on paper, you can do it on whiteboard, you can do it on anything. I mean, everybody.
Hey, Carolyn.
Yes, ma'am.
I know you have a pencil and paper somewhere around you.
Oh, I think this technology. Is this a pencil?
There you go. There you go.
Well, to
So,
answer your question, Mo, yeah, I believe that it can be used in high fidelity. Because you can drag images. I
Oh,
think
I'm done. I gotta mute. Sorry.
Christy did the, Caitlin, didn't she do the high fidelity mockups in InVision?
Yeah, you can. So usually when I get high fidelity mockups, they are in InVision. So, and they're usually for mobile devices. I will have to play with it a bit. I'm not exactly sure how that works because I don't do that part at my job. I just look at them.
Yeah.
But you can make them interactive mobile mockups and they are high fidelity, look just like the website. So that's kind of cool.
what do you mean when you say a high fidelity wireframe?
That it looks like it has the right colors, the right font, the styling, all that stuff. That's high fidelity mockup. Yep.
Okay, and Fabilia has her hand raised.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I have something to share. It's kind of incomplete, but I'll share.
That's okay. Go ahead and share it because after
Let me see
that,
if
I
I
want
can-
you to work on getting the actual mockup wireframe, not mockup, actual wireframe that we're going to be working on done.
Okay.
That's good.
Nice.
It's incomplete.
That's okay.
But
That's
it's
good.
simple. It's simple too. I mean, it's
Yeah.
what it's supposed to be at this point. And that's perfect. I love it.
Okay.
Can I use it?
Sure, go ahead.
Can
I'll
I
share.
just ride on your success or was it Bentley? Bentley, give me your site. That's gonna be my capstone. I'm just kidding. All right, here we go.
Okay, so Latanya, you have yours done. Let's take a look. And then Bentley, after she is done sharing, could you please share yours?
I'm working on 2 Macs and I did it on the one that I'm working on. So is there a way for me, maybe I can screenshot it and send it to Slack?
Sure.
I can't share my screen. Okay.
That's okay. I'll take that. I'll take it. You want to put it in Slack? That works for me.
Latanya, what one of the other students did was she turned one computer towards the other one. That's also an option.
Okay, I can do that too. Hold on. Let me just get it back up.
Or can you either cast one Mac to the other or like a mirroring
That's what I want to do. I think I
thing
need
or something? Not
an
that I really
adapter.
understand that stuff, but
Can you? Oh, hold on. Let me share my screen.
it's just a white light there.
Desktop 1. Share. Do you see my desktop?
Yes.
Can you see it?
We can see
Where is
your
that,
desktop.
California?
Trying to get the right angle.
Yeah, I would just throw it in Slack.
Okay. I already
So that we
screenshotted
can-
it, so I'll
so
pop
that
it
we
in
can
there.
see it.
But
Yeah.
Sorry, folks.
No, that's all right.
Sharing.
Okay, Bentley, your turn. Let's see. Yes, that is correct. See? Good, good. That'll help. It's gonna, doing this will help you when we start coding. More stuff. It's your feature image there. Okay.
Where's the hot dogs? Wasn't that the hot dog stand one?
I only did that just to play with it. Yeah. Now,
Yeah,
now
that would be too much detail at this point.
now
Right?
we're working on just doing the wireframe we're going to be working on in class. How's everybody else coming?
Dominique is giving us the thumbs up.
Let's see what you got, Dominique. Oh, good.
Very nice.
Yeah. That's good.
Just, you have something laying on top of it though.
She just has the Adobe document.
Yeah,
Or-
yeah. She can
But
just close
she's
that up.
right. I mean, she got it all right, so that's good.
Yeah.
Trying to stop sharing my screen. I got so many windows open.
You go down to,
There should be a little stop share button in the Zoom toolbar towards the top of your screen.
Thank
Or you
you.
can drop down to stop share. That works too.
Thank you. Oh, no, that's my stop.
Dominique, just go to that same menu and click stop share instead of stop video. Oh, you gotta click on Zoom first.
Oh, that looks, so Latanya's, yours looks good and so does Mal's. Mal's, yours look good too.
And click stop. Yeah, right there.
I was able to stop her share.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Does shift work to straighten our lines? I feel like I tried it and it didn't work for me. And somebody else asked, like, how can we make our lines not be so curvy?
So you have to use shift while you're drawing the line. So it doesn't work after you draw the line, but if you're in line mode and hold down shift while you're drawing the line, it should make the line straight.
Oh, Shantina's got her hand raised. What do you got? Let's see it. Oh, look at that. That's good.
Great job, Shantina.
Wow.
Thank you.
So read the chat because that applies to you like 3 times what I wrote.
Oh. Okay, let's see if I can go ahead and stop this again. I watch everybody else so that I can make sure that I don't have an issue when it comes to me. And then as soon as it comes to my turn, I can't find the button again. So open the Zoom. And not that Zoom. I don't know.
Are you trying to stop the screen share?
I found it.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. I was gonna say I can stop it for you, but I'm glad you found it.
Thank you.
Let's see.
We're having too much fun, aren't we?
So here's
Tanya,
what-
did you get yours put over into Slack?
yeah, she did.
She did? Okay. So everybody, if you have a moment, hop over to Slack and let's take a look at Latanya's.
I have a question. When you guys were laying this out, how many of you counted the columns for each piece?
I had to count them in my mind, of course.
That's okay, as long as you're counting them so that you
Yes.
know.
Yeah, it's
So-
important.
Right, because if you look at the add to cart button, you're gonna look at that and say, what?
Oh, I have to see that now. I got to go back and.
While you're looking for that, I'll also mention that Mel also put his screenshot in Slack.
To
I think-
answer your question, Latanya, eventually, yeah, you'll know those. You know, you'll know, they'll give them to you in the requirements anyway. When somebody comes to you, if you're not doing this part yourself and somebody comes to you and hands it to you and you look at it, you won't have those grid lines behind, the pink grid lines behind there. But eventually you'll get to the point where you're like, oh, all right, so that's going to probably be, I'm probably going to need about 4 for that and maybe 2 for the other button because my feature is this big and that's going to take up 6. So It takes practice, believe me. How's everybody else coming? Good? Well, Carolyn's got her hand raised. What's up, Carolyn?
Yeah, you were starting to talk about was the product description or whatever button.
The product? Oh, the
You were asking what about it?
The add to cart?
Right, add to
What
cart.
is
I
it?
had to, yeah. It's bigger, probably because it has to allow for description, that there's more information about what's being added to cart.
Not necessarily. I mean, it just could be the way that they wanted it. But when you look at the add to cart, looking with the grid behind it,
Okay.
how
I
many
gotta
columns
switch-
do you need?
I'm gonna switch to that. For not Latanya's, the grid that we had before, right?
Right.
Oh, okay, here.
That's the one that we're going to be, I mean, everybody's working on the one that we're going to be doing in class. They're all practicing that as the wireframe.
There it is. Okay. I'll see it. So it's 1, 2, 3. It is 4 columns.
Right. And eventually you'll get to the point where you'll know without the columns being there behind, you're going to look at it and say, oh, okay, so that's going to be, I've got 12 columns for the whole thing. And you know that your feature image is 6. And then you have 2 buttons there. So you know that the quantity button is smaller. So that might be about 2. And then you'll say, so that leaves me 4 for my add to cart. Right?
Yep, definitely.
Your feature image takes 6, and then your product title, well, that takes up the rest of it. So that's 6. Get 6 and 6. Right? If you broke down the header from home to about, how many, that's how many?
It's 4.
4. And
Well,
so
it's
that's
2 between them though.
right. So when we start coding this out, with the ones where there's, so you like right now you see it has the logo, right? And that's 2. And then there's 2 that don't have anything in it.
Yes.
We'll have to account for that when you start laying it out in code.
Uh-huh.
When we start coding it, we'll account for that.
So there is a reason to have that blank there, correct?
Yeah, it's a lot of, I mean, if you don't put space in there and you jam them up to each other, it would look funny, right?
Mm-hmm. And it would be hard for the user to navigate.
Or that could have been the client requirement.
Okay, that's right. That's true. Got to remember that. Right now, we're just kind of coming up with this based on, well, I guess the client requirement is this grid template.
Yeah, this wireframe that everybody's working on and doing to have done by the end of class today, or if you don't get it done by the end of class, tomorrow.
Right.
Just look at it as this is a client and we're going to code it.
Got it.
Susan,
Thank
yours
you.
looks good.
I like how Susan's spacing is. I was hoping there was some sort of like clicking, how in Adobe products or different platforms, it kind of helps to guide you. But I really like how she was able to space her stuff.
Sarah's, yours looks good too. And there are like, is it Adobe Creative? Is that the one where you can like run through the mockup, Max?
Yeah, so InVision is primarily used for uploading your high fidelity mockups and starting to make them interactive. So this is actually the whiteboarding tool is a newer part of InVision suite. And so while they encourage you to wireframe there, I think a lot of professionals will actually use another tool that is more grid oriented. To your point, Latanya, so you can do kind of more accurate positioning and grid snapping and all of that. So The two most popular ones that I have heard are Sketch and Figma. We use Sketch at my job, but that is a little bit more graphic oriented. And then InVision becomes a little bit more helpful when you have that high fidelity mockup to make it a little bit more interactive. So we wanted to share InVision as a tool just so you can get that idea of like, get the wireframe out of your head and just get it to show up. Like I said, I think a lot of developers from here would start using Sketch or Figma or one of those programs to start laying out a little bit more locked in of how wide things are going to be and get more down to that graphic level. And then you come back to a tool like InVision. So there is sometimes a step between mockups and your code called prototyping, where you can take your mockups and actually make them interactive and make it so when you click on that button, it actually takes you to this next screen. And that's kind of where InVision got started. And then InVision kind of backed their way into this other feature set of being able to wireframe and all of that kind of stuff. So Christy is teaching a module or a portion of module 3. Christy is a user design expert in terms of creating mockups, the high fidelity mockups, kind of going through that, talking through all of that kind of stuff. So there is more to come in this realm. I believe Karen's starting tomorrow, going to dive into code and get you guys started in HTML and CSS. But we didn't want to kind of just throw you in the deep end and go, here, go create something, because this ability to be able to visualize something before you go code it is such an important step that we wanted to show you a little bit of InVision before we kind of threw you into the coding deep end.
Ariel, is that second one from before when you were just playing around? They both look good, by the way. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen for a second because I also want to say something to you guys. You guys can see my InVision, right? Yeah, okay. So I know we use the grids behind today to do this mock-up. If you're not always going to have that available. What you can do though is, let me grab this box. You can just take, and at the top, just make a box. And then if you break it down into 12 parts, I'm not going to get 12 parts in here because I'm not doing it right, but if you break it down into 12 parts, then you can bring your columns down if you're drawing it on paper or in a whiteboard or anything, if you're not using something like this, and you still need that visual of the grids. Eventually, you'll get to the point where you won't need that. But if you need it for now, the best thing to do is just create a box at the top, and then you can drag them all the way down. Put them on there yourself. Brandy, that looks good. I see what you did with the featured image there. That was good. So at this point, I'm gonna throw two. I put them in the chat and I put them in Slack. Maybe I need to send that one. Before class tomorrow, when you guys, it shouldn't take too long. They're not very long. And I want to make sure that I'm looking at this one.
Okay, I just got done finishing my mockup.
Okay. You want to share it?
Sure.
That looks great.
Thank you.
It does look good. The HTML link that I sent you guys, he actually does a project in there. Don't build that project. I just want you to look at everything else because it talks about a lot of what we're going to go over tomorrow. They will, Bria, as soon as I figure out how to do that, or maybe Dana can help me do it. I'm bad. I am awful at Google Classroom. It's like the worst.
What was the question? Oh, what will it be in Google Classroom? Yeah, we can talk about that after class if you have time.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you get it, they shouldn't take long. But I don't think they have any. You can watch the video if you want, but that's not necessary. I more want you to read the articles that are there. But don't, in the HTML, don't build his website that he's got there or whatever, his project. If you want to do that on like your own time for like extra practice and stuff, sure, go ahead and do it, but it's not something that is going to be required for class, just so that you know. If you guys have done the mock-up or the wireframe, you can get out of here if you want. We're good. That's pretty much it for tonight. I wanted to give you the 2 articles for tomorrow to prepare, and then tomorrow we're going to get into starting to write some code.